Hey there, everyone. My name is Adam, and today I'm here with Nick Glassett, who owns a bounce house company. He also has a YouTube channel. We'll put the link in the description that teaches people about the bounce house business and just, how to run it. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Everything's going good here. All right, so let's just get right into it. How'd you get into bounce houses, party rentals, the whole thing?
Yep. So I've told this story, I feel like a million times. So I try to do my best to keep it from becoming a fish story. But basically, in a nutshell, I was an employee at a company. I was a district manager for Journeys. It's a shoe store. I oversaw 25 stores, and I was working my butt off. And I just had this entrepreneurial itch that job wasn't scratching anymore. So I was kind of testing some stuff. Meanwhile, my wife, um, we had like the little flimsy bounce houses, the nylon ones. And so we had one for a year. We blow it up the next year, it's broken. Wife's pissed. She goes to buy another one. And those things, I mean, she was spending $400 or $500 on those. You know what I mean?
Right.
The next year, blows it up, deflates. Your won't inflate. And so she decides, the hell with this. I'm going to go to Spacewalk, which is right over in Kenner, Louisiana, right by where we live. She says, I'm going to go to Spacewalk and I'm going to buy my own. Like, I'm going to buy us a real one because we'd been renting them, at birthday parties, what have you. I knew nothing about them. I didn't get in them. I don't remember what colors they were when we got them. I literally know nothing about them. She says, I'm going to go buy one of those. I got a good deal on one. I figured then you could start renting it out on the weekend because I know you want to start your own business and kind of see what's happening. So I was like, I mean, I remember where I was. I was in the stockroom of the Journeys in Biloxi, Mississippi, when she called me and had that conversation with me. It was that memorable. And it was just kind of one of those things where I'm like, hell yeah, like that. That sounds great. Kind of side hustle-ish, if you will. And then, I mean, I knew nothing of the industry, so I didn't know if it was a scalable business or whatever. I just knew it'd be a little fun and I could get my feet wet learning. So she went there. She ended up getting upsold by Corey at Spacewalk into two. So she got a bounce house, 15 by 15 bounce house, and then like a 32-foot slip and slide.
Okay.
And then from that point forward, I kind of took everything over, and named it the Jump Off and kind of ran it from there.
Right. How long ago was this?
That was, I want to say that was June 2019. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And for people watching who don't know that you were talking about the cheap ones, you can buy ones from Amazon and Walmart and stuff, and they're not really rental quality. They're not made to get beat up, like you said. They like get destroyed.
Yeah,
Um,
they
and
lasted 1 year.
and there's other ones which are made to be used, which is what you eventually ended up getting.
Right. Right.
Right. Okay, so June of last year, how long until you got your first customer?
That is a good question. It was I want to say it was 4th of July.
Okay.
There's two rentals that I remember in my head vividly, but I can't remember which one was first. There's one that was like 2 miles down the road that way, and one that was up north of me just a little bit, like 20 minutes or something.
Right.
They both rented the slip and slide, and it was kind of like I remember driving to the one and just we didn't have a trailer, and I still worked at Journeys actually, so we had put it in the back of my wife's Armada, and I had bought the wagon. What are those called? Like a landscape wagon. Like it's
Yeah.
got. Yeah, I thought that was brilliant, and it turned out to be a terrible idea, by the way. But and so like you roll it out of the back of the Armada, and you got to land it on the little wagon, and don't know what you're doing. But I'm good with people because I worked in customer service and in a leadership position for a long time, so I can walk up and fake it till I make it in person, and have the customer, more or less be none the wiser, but we set it up. Yeah, the one it had to have been the one that was close by that was first because I remember setting it up, and she pays us like $150 or whatever and I was like, that's so cool. We get back in the Armada and then start driving away, and I remember being like, oh my god, there goes I'm just leaving my slip and slide here. I remember being a very weird feeling the first time.
Right. Um, Slip and slide. Do you still have it? Does it still go out consistently?
No, I had sold. So the original bounce house we had was a 15 by 15 orange dinosaur. It got beat up. I sold it, but rebought another one. It got beat up, sold it, and I've rebought another one. So I still have the same, not the exact same unit, but the same design. That slip and slide, I had bought two other ones because I was getting them at a good deal from Spacewalk, and they had them. But they just don't rent for very much money. And so it's kind of like we're doing all the same work. And so I had sold those three and used that money to buy one 18-foot slide. So I don't have the slip and slide anymore.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's where I was going with it. So I talked to a lot of bounce house people, and each one's kind of a little different, but they all kind of have a same theme. Like your basic unit, combos, and water slides. They say that is what goes out the most. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. For us, the combos will go out the most, as in, I mean, they rent 52 weeks a year down here in New Orleans. It's warm enough. They rent 52 weeks a year. The water slides make more money for sure. And then I have pretty poor luck with just basic bounce houses. They do not do that well down here.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's like territorial. Like I talked to one guy who makes so much money off of just 13 by 13s because everyone's kind of got a small backyard where he is. He's kind of closer to a city. There's no room for big things. So it all depends. So anyone watching, like, just pay attention to your competitors and stuff, when you're going to start and kind of get an idea of what they're doing. Because I don't think you want to like go full on out and buy like the most luxurious, biggest, expensive thing without knowing it's going to rent out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have my best unit this year is actually my obstacle course. It's 2 pieces. It's about 60 feet. And it made the most. It beat the freaking water slides, which blows me away because in 2020 nothing touched the water slides.
Wow.
But the obstacle course. But like you said, I'm north of New Orleans to where we're not in New Orleans proper. That if I had that in New Orleans area, I couldn't rent it to any houses, right? But up here we've got big enough yards where it goes out all the freaking time.
Right. All right. So someone wants to get into the bounce house game. How do you market this? How to customer acquisition?
So I have a couple avenues that I love. What I've done early on, I've seen works the best for me, and that is kind of the more word of mouth or kind of bootstrapping it. So I have them right here too. Oh, these are the old ones, but you'll get the idea. I made these on Vistaprint, little magnets.
Okay.
And so I was just kind of like, I started to realize how often I have repeat customers, and I've always been anti-business card because somebody gives me their business card. What do? You just stick it in a pile or you throw it away. So I thought, well, let me just give them a magnet. That way they can stick this on their fridge, and then they can always find us. And so what we do at the drop-off is we give this to them and we kind of have like a little spiel, right? Where we tell them, here's a magnet for you, stick this on your fridge or on your beer fridge in your garage, whatever. But that way you can find us from next time, or you can never forget us, or right. Each of us has a different thing we say, but the magnet has the biggest impact that I've seen where they can actually tell me, oh, I have the magnet. Like, you go to a repeat customer, they have the magnet. Right. I did flyers. Flyers are not as good. We kind of have gone away from the flyers. And then obviously, I mean, Facebook ads, those things over index. If you make a good ad, the creative of the ad has to be good. And, and the copy has to be written well. Like it's got to be a good ad.
Okay.
But I run Facebook ads. I mean, not 24/7, but anytime it's a busy season, I've got a Facebook ad running.
Right. Cool. What do you mean by good ad? Like, I know I'm putting you on the spot. Like, what would be a good ad?
Fine. So a bad, I'll give you an example of the bad way to do it or the wrong way to do it. You go in and you make a Facebook post, and it says, "Rent with us, we're the best, blah blah blah. Here's our phone number," and it's just you're just asking for business. And there's a picture of a bounce house or a picture of whatever you put up, and then you go hit the boost post button. That is just 90% of the time that's a waste of money because that's not an ad. That is a Facebook post where you asked for business, then you put money behind it to get it to strangers. If you want to make a good ad, you go into the Facebook ad product. You can do it on your phone from the business. I think it's called Business Suite now. like the Facebook page app
Yeah.
that manages your Facebook page. Those are pretty decent. You can do it in there. But if you go do it on your computer, you can make a real ad. And I mean, what I suggest to people is just go scroll Facebook, and when you see an ad, click on it, and you'll notice themes pop up where the picture is a good picture. It's kind of grabs your attention. And then if you notice, you click the see more button on the copy, and the ad is like this long. Like you only see, 2 sentences, but the ad is this long. You just keep writing and writing and writing and writing, and you break it up. A lot of line breaks in that. You want to have a good call to action button at the bottom, depending if you want them to go to your website, right? So for the jump off, I'm going to have them go to my website because that's where they book. So, and you make it say book now, and it goes to your website.
Right.
You can do all that in the ad product. You can tell it. I just made one for my Christmas side business yesterday. And so you can go in and preview the Instagram version. And then let me think. The other thing that it'll do, so for Bounce House, what I've noticed was when I go in the ad product and I check the stats, like check, all my numbers, where my ad performs the best, and it makes pretty good sense, is when it shows it in Marketplace. So someone types in Bounce House in Marketplace and scrolls and then sees my ad. And when I pay to make an ad, I can put 5 pictures. So you can swipe, right? And so in there, it looks more robust than a Facebook market post. And that's where I get most of my traffic for the jump off.
Okay, that's awesome. I didn't even know you could go in and do it like that. I've done some Facebook ads before, and I just did the first thing you said. So next time I do one, I will definitely go a little deeper into it.
Yeah, they're it's a foreign territory. So you go in there and you're kind of like, okay, wow, you really actually do start to feel like an advertiser versus just boosting a post.
Right. Gotcha. You mentioned the rental program, or people will go book on the website, and that has to do with the rental program. But before we get into that, how did you first start, booking things? How did you keep track of things?
So I first started. I had a calendar in I just use the phone calendar, like iPhone calendar, and we were so small, I could just remember them.
Right.
Once we hit our oh shit moment where it scaled so fast, it was insane. I tried everything I could to scale the booking process. I had a calendar, right? I just went or whatever, printed one off the internet. Wasn't big enough. I went and bought one of those big desk calendars and was writing in different colored pens for the different slides. But then you start getting too many slides. You can't have that many colored pens, and then the lines all start to fill up. And so then at that point, I just kind of sat down and I messed with everything technology wise, because I knew technology could scale, right? Analog doesn't scale. I know digital could. So I ended up landing back on the iPhone calendar. And so I would just book everything manually in there. I'd go put it in, put the times. It was, kind of a pain, but when you're small, a pain that takes time for free is worth it because you have the time. Yeah.
Yeah, when I first started, it was an Excel sheet where at the bottom of the Excel sheet was 365 tabs that I made with the dates. And I'd go in and put everything, and then I would copy that grid of whoever and paste it into a Word document and then send that out as a contract. So it was all free to begin with. It was just, you had to remember everything up here. Like, how many of this do I have? How many of that do I have?
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, I'm a fan for free until you get to the point where you got to at some point. You decided to go with a program, right?
Yeah. Yep. I got an inflatable office.
Inflatable office. And so, like, how has that changed your life?
Oh my God. I literally cannot even begin to tell people the difference between the two, from a standpoint of, my favorite way to kind of explain it is I just wake up in the morning and check my email, and 3 slides booked last night.
Right.
Like either while I was chilling with my family or asleep, they'll come through 2 a.m, whatever. And I'm like, it's just on the count. And then it still syncs to my iPhone calendar, right? It still looks very similar to what it used to look like back in the day when I did it myself. And I didn't have to do anything.
Right. That's cool. I didn't know it synced to your iPhone calendar. That's awesome.
Yeah, so you can sync it to a like Gmail, and then my Gmail is synced to my phone. And so, I mean, you can pull it up, you got the name, you got the address, you got their phone number, you got the duration of the rental, and then it blocks off the time in there for how long the rental is. It's amazing. I've got to, but I did it to my personal email account, and I can't share that with my guys. Like you can't, you have to have either iCloud or you have to make a specific one or something. I looked at it the other day, right? Because I write out like I take the contracts, like these are the contracts, and so I've got to put all these in order so then they can get the addresses, and so I'm like, dude, if I could just share that calendar with them and they can just go tap on their phone, would be super slick. But I got to share it to another calendar.
Gotcha. All right. So you first started off with your wife's vehicle, and then you start getting bigger. Like, let's go through that story from your wife's vehicle to what you deliver in now and everything in between.
Okay, so then I quit Journeys I put in my notice in August and worked out my notice till September. So once I quit there, I had a fleet car. They paid for my whole car,
Right.
everything, gas, the whole nine. And so I had to give that back. So then I had no vehicle. So I was still using my wife's Armada. Somebody's trying to break in. Journey's vehicle is totally free, but I got to give it back when I quit. And so then I had just had only my wife's Armada for a minute because I was kind of like, I could get by with my dad. My dad had an old pickup truck. He had a 2003 Sierra, and they lived right around the corner from us. So I could borrow that whenever because he was working from home. So no biggie, right? And so wife's Armada, or I'd borrow my dad's truck. I bought a trailer there pretty quickly, a little red tilt trailer that was terrible for the bounce house business, but I got it for super cheap. Then I decided to buy a Jeep Cherokee. I bought a little Jeep Cherokee because I had a V6, so it could pull the little trailer. I sold that red trailer and bought a trailer with a tailgate. That changed my life too. I'm a big fan of the tailgate. I don't like the flip the slide in thing. I hate that.
Right.
And so then I had that Cherokee and that little dinky 5x8 trailer from Lowe's for, oh man, probably a year at least. And then we just started getting busier and busier. So I ordered a big trailer, ordered a 14x6 trailer. And at that point, and I had the money too. That was the other thing. I was trying to stay cheap while I scaled the business, right? Because that's just how I roll. I'm not in this to go buy fancy, nice things. I'm in this because I love business. And so then at that point, so August of 2020, I went and that's right. August of 2020, I went and bought a Silverado. So I have a 2018 Silverado now. And then I got another trailer made. I got a 10x6 made. So now I have 3 trailers. Then I bought that old pickup truck off my dad when he bought a new truck. So now we have that 2003 Sierra and the 3 trailers plus my truck.
Nice. Where's the storage warehousing?
Yeah, so I've got so as of right now, I'm still rocking out of storage units. It's just so close and so convenient. It's where I live. There's no industrial area, so in order to get a warehouse, I've found some decent deals, but they're 25 minutes away, and the roads around here. It's kind of a long, weird story, but the area grew a lot during COVID shutdowns, and then so when everything opened back up, everybody in the community is like, "Oh shit." The roads are just gridlocked. So you're talking it's 40 minutes if you leave at any, in the morning or in the evening. And so I've just made the decision for now, I'm going to keep going out of the storage units. So they're about 7 minutes down the highway. And then I had 2 smallish ones. I had a medium one and a pretty small one. And if anybody's watched my YouTube channel, you've seen them, right? And I have a video where I made a video of how to run a bounce house business out of storage units. And I showcase those too. I've been on a waiting list forever. I now have 2 15x30 units that are right next to each other.
Oh, nice.
And so Yeah, so I got plenty of space. They have power inside of them. They have a light inside of them. So I've got a little desk and a coffee maker and a fridge with waters in it. And then that's where I've got the water slides right now in the back, the combos, and the bounce house is kind of on the sides. And then my Christmas light stuff is moved up to the front right now. Once we're out of Christmas light season or out of Mardi Gras season, it'll go to the back. So I just kind of shuffle everything.
Right. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people who continue to, they got pretty decent sized companies and they continue to be in storage units because it's in the long run cheaper. And this one guy has the big RV storage units, like you would drive an RV in, and he's got two next to each other, and he pays, it's way less than rent on a commercial building, and he's got all the space he needs. So
yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, and then they have some outside parking too. So I've got 2 outside parking spots where one of them's got the big red trailer, and then the other 2 small black trailers go in the other one. And so it's like I don't have to, the only thing I have at my house is we have to clean in my backyard still. That's the only kind of downfall is the guys come here, drop them in the backyard, then they got to take the trailer back. Then on cleaning day they got to go get the trailer, bring it back. So that whole part is a little bit of a pain.
Right.
But like you said, I'm paying for those 2 units. I'm paying less. I'm paying $460 for those 2 units.
Right.
I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, way more affordable than a commercial rent.
And close.
Right. All right. So, what are some things that you use to make your life easier every day? Like, do you have carts and, just things to move stuff around?
Let's see. My favorite stuff. I have 2 of the Super Mover dollies from Spacewalk. I love those. They're kind of like, almost like an entry level dolly. They're $600 ish. They're the best for loading a trailer. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. There's nothing better than those for loading a trailer.
Right.
So we have, generally speaking, one is in my backyard and one is at the storage. And they're just great. They're super versatile. Just got a Jolly Dolly for the big slides, and it's a manual one. I didn't spring for the electric one yet, because I have an electric one I have a Rollsall. So I got those 4 dollies that kind of do the workload. Let's see what else is great. I'm a big fan of, and this is so random, but it's like an $8 steak puller. It's a pry bar from Harbor Freight.
Okay.
But you can just stick it under, the 18-inch steaks when they're in the ground. You just stick it under there and go whoop, and wrench it right up.
Right.
And it just stays in. Like we have these vinyl bags for the steaks, and so that one of those just stays in the steak bag, and it's just so much easier. And then we don't bend steaks.
Right.
Back in the day, the big buff guys would bend steaks trying to pull a steak with another steak.
Gotcha.
So that $8 pry bar has been awesome.
Right. Yeah, that's important to like have things to make life go faster and keep your inventory from not getting busted up.
Mm-hmm.
That's something anyone who wants to get in the bounce house or event rental world, it's basically you're moving around stuff and doing physical stuff. So anything that can make that easier and faster is a plus.
Yeah, I've got like my favorite lashing straps that almost every slide has them on it. They're cheap from Amazon. You get 4 of them, I think, for $20, 4 of them for $18, something like that. And I buy red, right? Because jump off's red, and they're just easy. Whoop, zip.
Right.
I love those. All of our cleaning stuff, like I got just a little bucket, and then I got the Mr. Clean cleaning stuff that I like. Smells good. Magic eraser. Wife's a salon owner, so I've got an infinite number of towels for that.
Right. All right. So you've been in this a while. Any lessons from mistakes you made that you could like tell other people so they don't have to learn the hard way?
If you buy, it's kind of an age-old, wisdom, but if you buy the right tool first, as opposed to scaling your way up with crappy tools to get to the right tool, you probably end up spending less money. That being said, I'm a big fan of having more than one dolly. Like, so if you have, I used to buy them at Harbor Freight, but like you can get them at Tractor Supply too. It's like their biggest dolly they make, it's like $100, $110, something like that. Those are great for little bounce houses, and then also get yourself a good dolly, whether you get, the one from Spacewalk that I like, or you get a Jolly Dolly, just get a good array of stuff to help you, because you think you can muscle through, I can do this 15 by 15 with this goofy little hand cart. And it's like, you can, but as soon as you get the real thing, you have less apprehension when a rental comes through, because you can fly through it and you can scale your business quicker. Like,
right.
That happened to me when I got the trailer with the tailgate. That's what it was. Like, I was trying to be a cheap ass and get this stupid tilt trailer, right? You can't use a tilt for putting a bounce house on it. I got the one with the tailgate, and immediately that was like a legitimate like point in the jump off, scaling, where it went from like, okay, I got 3 to go deliver today. I got that one with the tailgate. And I'm like, I was ready to go. I was excited to go, you know what I mean? Versus like,
right.
Hope I don't screw this up.
Right. All right. So everyone has other things they rent out. Like, what else is in your inventory that you rent out besides just bounce houses and slides and combos?
Yeah. So that definitely makes the meat, right? But then I added tables and chairs, and that's been a pretty good addition. The ones I got were Lifetime brand. They're kind of the bigger, bulky ones.
Right.
I got them from Sam's. They're pretty cheap. So I think I have 30 chairs and 5 tables that I don't even think cost me $1,000 from Sam's, and they make about $2,000 a year. So
nice.
It's a good little add-on. And then I got, about this time last year, it was my wife's idea. She wanted to buy the foam machine because nobody around here is doing foam. So we added the foam machine, I think in February of 21, and it took a while to get going, because since no one's doing it, that means there's not a market. And that's kind of what I was trying to explain to her. I was like, we can, but I gotta have to put money behind it with ads to get it going. But once it popped, that thing is sweet, right? Because we use the party machines to where it's basically renter operated. So we drop it off and give them a 10-minute lesson and leave, and it's a $230 rental. I'm like, you carry it all in one bucket, and the stand, set it up, maybe a tarp if they've got it on grass, and done. So much easier than moving a water slide.
Right. Yeah, for sure. That's interesting. I was just talking to someone who has the Foam Daddy one, and that's a, you operator one. You need to have someone there and like keeping the party going and whatever. But this one, who is it? The one that you
Party
have?
Machines.
Party Machines. It's more of a drop off one.
Yeah, I just kind of did it like that, almost out of naivete, because I just drop off a water slide and leave. So that's what I did with. Yeah, that's what I started doing with the foam machine. I've never had an issue. I had a summer camp for like kindergartner age kids, ran it from me 4 weeks in a row every Tuesday over last summer, and they said they're gonna do it again this summer. And I just show up. The teacher's name's Desiree. She knows how to run it. I just put it in the same spot and say hi to Desiree. She hands me my check, and then I leave.
Nice. That is awesome. I like that idea. The tables and chairs, like how often do they go out with the bounce house? Because there's a bunch of people there, and they need to have somewhere to sit and eat and put food and stuff, right?
Yeah. So they go out. They're very sporadic. They'll go out 3 weeks in a row, and then they'll have 3 weeks where they don't go out. That happened. They all went out this past weekend, and they all went out, I think, the weekend before, or maybe that might have been Christmas, so it might have been the weekend before. But they're very, very, very sporadic. And then in inflatable office, you can set it up to upsell anything you want. And so I have every single unit set to upsell tables, upsell chairs, and then the water slides also upsell the foam machine. But so it's down at the bottom, it recommends, hey, you should get this too.
Right.
And so, but it's very sporadic.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. You're already going there, and they want a few tables and chairs. Might as well bring them instead of let someone else bring them.
Yeah, and that's kind of where every now and then they do get rented, where somebody somehow figures out that we have them and they rent just chairs and tables from us, and you're like, right? Because to my knowledge, I can't put a minimum price on it or something, and I can't do a delivery fee specific to an item. So it's kind of like you're at the mercy of, they order $26 worth of tables and chairs.
Right.
Like that's it. You got to do it. So it doesn't happen that often, but it is what it is. But it does.
Do you have any games to like add on to?
No, I've looked into buying a bunch, and then I just never pulled the trigger on it. I just felt like I would be chasing around Connect 4 discs, and I do actually have my own personal cornhole board that is mine. It's really nice. I bought it from a guy who custom made it. I just threw it on there out of curiosity because it's very good quality, so I feel comfortable dropping it off to somebody's house, and it's never rented.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It never rented, and so I've just kind of kept it. That's and I learned this back when I worked at Journeys. It's a shoe store, and I used to go travel around, and the managers that work for me or any employee, I guess, would be complaining about the shirts that we sell aren't right, or we need to carry some pants, whatever. 90% of the sales came from shoes. 90 of the dollars came from shoes.
Right.
And so I just like, why do you care about shirts? It makes up 2% of the dollars. We could literally stop carrying them, and nobody's paycheck would notice.
Right.
And so I don't know if that's just kind of pounded in my head so much to where it's just like, when people will message me from YouTube, I've got 3 slides, but I really want to do this foam machine. I'm like, you've got to build a market. You've got to be a marketer. You're not a foam machine guy. You're a marketer. If you could do that, do that. If not, just stick with the bread and butter for a long time and invest the money in the 90%. And so because of that, I just never pulled the trigger on any games.
Right. No, I get it. I tell people that all the time. Basically, different than what you said, but like maximize what you're currently good at, what is currently making you money before you decide to branch out. Maximize that, and once that's just like flatlined, then start to be like, all right, what else can we bring in here?
Yeah, and the other thing too is, and if you talk to like a real big, 300 plus units bounce house owner, what'll happen is they start to have so much revenue, the CPA says, guess what? You need to go spend $20,000 so you don't get taxed, right?
Right.
At that point, that almost becomes the burnable income to go start to test with, because you got to spend it anyway, and so I've always looked at it from a standpoint of, once I get there, then I'll start to branch out and see if a Velcro wall is cool, or see if, the Orbeez, like there's all sorts of stuff you can do. But right. I know if I buy an 18-foot slide, I know exactly how much money it's going to make.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. All right. So what is your plans for the future?
That is a great question. So I started the YouTube channel, just kind of scratched my itch of teaching people things. And it has gone way more successful than I ever thought it would. I've been very humbled. So I definitely want to double or even triple down on that, just because it's not that it's on the back burner, but when you've got a company, or I have 2 companies to run, shooting content, editing content, kind of takes a back seat. But now that I've got a good team around me, this time last year, I was not a one-man show, but I was damn close. Now I'm up to, between the 2 businesses, I have 8 employees. So now I can really empower them, and I want to, create more content for YouTube. I want to start a production company so somebody can come film me more often, and they're in-house,
right?
And help them build a business around their talents. And so that's really on my mind a lot. The other thing is, and I absolutely love the business. I love the bounce house business, and it's super weird that I ended up in that space, because it's not something I ever, targeted. It just kind of started to happen, and I ran with it, and I totally fell in love with it. That being said, entrepreneurship as a whole, or business as a whole is really, really, really where my passion is.
Right.
And so whether I want to, right, I've got all sorts of great ideas that I want to implement that I've just got to create the time for, from a weekly newsletter that's, it's going to be, right, I tend to be more inspirational and informational, and broad. That's just kind of my personality. So my newsletter is not going to be a bounce house newsletter or a party rental newsletter. It's just going to be like a entrepreneurship and inspirational newsletter, and there'll be a shitload of bounce house stuff in there, obviously. But write a book, like, all those things are definitely in me. I have a personal blog, which I used to write for all the time, and I haven't written anything in forever almost. And so I just really love to, like, I'm a creative and I like to create and I love
Right.
to teach. And so I want to use, kind of the Bounce House YouTube channel to kind of go in that direction and see where it takes me.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm pretty sure you'll be successful. But
thank you.
Thanks, Nick, for being on.
Yeah, you are very welcome. It was a pleasure, man.
All right, man. For everyone, he keeps mentioning his other business. We're gonna do another video separate. It's a light business, Christmas light business.
Let's get lit. Christmas lights.
So we're gonna do that in a separate video. But I don't want to take up too much more of your time tonight.
Yep, you are good. This was a blast, man. I super appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you.